Things are being thrown. There's no room for this in the sport. There's no room for the Davis brothers to be in the building tonight. The police escorted them out. You saw.
He did say in the post-fight press conference, I had someone that I was going to call out. And then someone asked him, Shakur, and he said, no, someone who came into my locker room. But all the sleuths don't know who came into his locker room.
Some people do.
There's only one name that people are bringing up.
Don't you dare.
There's only one. I'm not the one.
Time for this.
There's only one name that people are bringing up.
I don't have time.
And you know who it is.
I do know who it is. I'm not having Jake Paul.
El Gallo. El Gallo de Dorado. El Gallo, is this?
You know what I will say?
Yeah.
If I'm Jake Paul and
Jake Paul cruiserweight.
Yeah, against
a
Gervonta 150.
40, okay, yeah,
150,
right.
eating a bit.
Yeah.
If I'm Jake Paul and the Jake Paul Canelo fight was taken from me like that, the only way to go bigger is Gervonta.
It finally went down. Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. went head-to-head at a crazy press conference in Vegas, throwing verbal punches about legacy, knockouts, and comebacks. But out of nowhere, something wild happened. Gervonta "Tank" Davis suddenly showed up, stole all the attention from Chavez Jr., and reminded everyone who the real superstar is. That's right, Tank crashed Jake's event and turned it into the start of something even bigger. Let's break it all down.
GervontaDavis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down.
I don't know
if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
First up, let's get into the Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight. Say what you want about Jake, but this fight is a big upgrade compared to his previous opponents.
Daddy does all the talking. I didn't know it was bring your dad to work day. You're nothing without your dad. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth.
You like old man, that's why I brought him, because maybe you like my dad.
Chavez Jr. might not be at his peak anymore, but he's still a real former world champ who's faced serious opponents. Whether he's past his best or not, this isn't some YouTube-style show, it's a real challenge. And yet, Jake is going in as the favorite.
Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
I think it's one of his toughest fights.
It's definitely his toughest fight. Jake, I feel like, has gotten stiffed a few times this year with who his opponents were gonna be. This is what I don't understand about people hating on him. He's not fighting tomato cans. Every single person that he fought had a chance to beat him. And by the way, people believed that they were probably going to beat him every time. This guy is a real boxer. So it'll be another opportunity to show that Jake Paul is a real boxer.
But it makes sense. Jake Paul is younger, more driven, and just scored a huge win over Mike Tyson. Yes, Tyson was 58, but that fight broke pay-per-view records and showed that Jake can hang in the ring with legends, even if they're past their prime.
I want professional boxers. It's only been 3.5 years. You can only make a certain amount of fights happen. And the plan was always to fight Nate Diaz after Tommy Fury, win, lose, or draw. People think there's like this ducking of professional boxers. The next fight could potentially be a professional boxer. I'm just getting started. I'm 26 years old, and there's only so much I can do.
Chavez Jr. has plenty to prove. People call him lazy, inconsistent, and past his prime.
Everybody would think Anderson Silva would beat Jake Paul. I don't think that would be a surprise element. You know what I mean? Like, you still need to have a balancing act here where you're playing. I think Anderson is too good. Like, I don't think there would be a surprise element to that promotion. I think Chavez Jr. is a better name for who Anderson just beat in boxing, who is tough though. He's lazy as hell. He's probably overrated as hell. If his last name, if he wasn't Chavez Sr.'s his son, he probably would go nowhere near a world title in his life. So boxing can be manipulated in that way. But you know, he gives you a little bit more to work with, because again, the element of surprise. If is he gonna show up in shape? You're worried about guys not making weight. That guy will show up not making weight. You know what I mean?
But for Jake, this fight is really about building up to his next massive payday. And that's exactly where GervontaDavis enters the picture.
True that you made $170 million from this fight?
I made a lot of money, the most money I've made ever.
60 million households, Jake.
250 million people.
Bro, that is so
It's all downhill from here.
No, for sure.
I peaked.
Because once Jake handles Chavez Jr., and let's be real, he probably will, Gervonta "Tank" Davis is waiting on the other side.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. Like, you want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough
Yeah,
for
would you ever
to
do a
take
fight like that?
I feel as though in my career, I can't do that right now.
Now let's talk about the fight expected to happen this November. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis.
We know that Gervonta is going to fight Jake Paul in November. And then we'll see what happens if there's an AJ fight. Be interested to go from GervontaDavis to Anthony Joshua, but I don't think the Chavez fight is terrible. I think it's a smart bit of business.
It's a showdown between one of boxing's most dangerous punchers and a social media star turned cruiserweight powerhouse. Sounds crazy, right? A lightweight moving up to face someone who's basically the size of a heavyweight.
You fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You can knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
But this is 2025. Boxing is now as much about entertainment as it is about skill. And here's the real talk. On paper, Tank Davis is the better fighter, no question. Pound for pound, he's got it all: power, speed, experience, and ring IQ. He's the total package.
Skill for skill, none of these guys can mess with me. Like, nobody. Like, I feel like my skills is way better than like Floyd. Like, if I'm on my game. Well, I take that back. Probably hand in hand. But skill-wise, nobody on TV that's fighting right now have more skills than me. Nobody. Like, talking about top to bottom list of fighters that fight on TV.
But there's one stat you can't overlook. Wait. Jake Paul isn't just bigger. He's way bigger than Tank.
Fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Okay. But, and so what does that mean? Is that 3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 10 3-minute rounds.
And when you say exhibition, like, what are the restrictions on that?
No restrictions, just the fact that like we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
Jake walks around at over 190 pounds, and his punches carry real power. Just ask Tyron Woodley. Jake can land heavy shots, and all it takes is one slip, one opening, and Tank could be out cold.
Tank's super skilled. Even though he's smaller than Jake.
It's like you with Mayweather. When you beat Mayweather, you were way bigger than Mayweather. That's why you won.
First person to beat him in history, and he still didn't pay me. Allegedly, in my opinion. Fuck off.
Tank has never faced anyone even close to Jake's size. This isn't sparring, and it's not an exhibition. If Jake lands clean, Tank's night could be over before it even starts.
Tank was looking past Roach, and he wanted that Jake Paul fight, which I think Jake Paul would have beaten. Jake is way too big. Tank is 5'5", 135, soaking wet. Y'all think Tank is too small for 140. He ain't beating no heavyweight. I'm not joking. I don't think he would have hurt Jake. He would have to jump up to reach him. I don't think he would have hurt him. I tell you this, it would have gone the distance, and people would have been laughing their asses off, and it wouldn't have been good for Tank's brand. I tell you that. That fight would have went the distance. Soon as 5'5" Tank is looking at a 6'2", 6'3" Jake Paul, y'all would have been like, hold, wait a second. And Jake Paul be on spread out paws with that arm out and stepping back. And bro, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. But that's a cap. Fine. We'll never get to fight anyway. So
why would Tank even take this fight? Simple: money. This isn't about titles or legacy. It's a full-on cash grab. Tank saw what Floyd did with Logan Paul, and now he wants his share of that influencer money. Same game plan. Fight a YouTuber, make millions, and forget about the rankings.
It's crazy that everybody keeps asking me, why you not coming back to fight? Why you not coming back to fight? So I look at the fight game, I said, okay. I said, fighters fighting, they make 3 million, 4 million, 6 million, 7 million. Some may make 10 or 20 million. but I'm doing exhibitions, and I'm making 20, 25 million, 100 million for exhibitions. So why would I come back and fight and get a guaranteed 35 million when I'm doing exhibitions and getting 100 million?
But here's where things get complicated. Tank is already locked in for something much bigger, a rematch with Lamont Roach.
You know, since the word has been floating around, the rematch is happening for sure. Just keep an eye out for August. There's a date floating around that might very well be that date. I can assure you guys that it's coming this summer for sure.
My man, you just made my day saying that, man. And I'm telling you, I beg to differ with regard to what took place. So let me just say you're the champ.
Thank you.
I'll leave it at that.
That fight is scheduled to happen before the Jake matchup. But from what we've seen, Tank seems way more focused on the big payday with Jake than settling the score with Roach. And that's a risky move.
Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room.
Jake Paul?
Next question.
Man, god damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
The first fight between Tank and Roach. Let's be honest, Tank didn't look his best. It ended in a draw, but if we're keeping it real, Roach looked like the sharper fighter that night.
Oh, nice double left hook by Roach to the body and then to the head. Right there it is. Oof. And Davis just got backed up with a counter right from Roach.
That's a big moment in
Load with the left. Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaning with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee. What is he doing?
He forgot his...
Nice combination from Roach. Best again. Oh, another right hand, another right left by Roach. Nice combination. Got just over around 11 as well.
Maybe him getting popped.
Davis fighting on even terms here in the 11. Both of them have landed.
Has to keep doing that. Roach said the familiarity, knows his weaknesses. It's one thing to say it.
The decision is a majority draw.
The 9th round stirred up major controversy. Tank went down to a knee, but it wasn't called a knockdown, and fans everywhere were yelling robbery.
Tank did that, so I know the got in his eye, but they should have countered it. They would have countered it, it would have went to Lamont Roach. What I didn't like about Tank, he was gassing up Lamont Roach way too much, and he was already talking about like retiring.
He seemed a little distracted, didn't he, in the fight?
That wasn't the same GervontaDavis we're really used to seeing.
It just lets you know how corrupt like the governing bodies are, bro. If that dude took a knee, not only did he take a knee, he's like, hold on real quick. Let me get this out of my eye. How is that not a point? Like,
you know, funny thing, bro, that's why I cut my braids off. I had braids, and I had the same thing. I went through the same shit when I fought Andre. That shit burning my eyes, so I cut that off.
Fans, analysts, and even fellow fighters were all saying the same thing. Lamont Roach should have won that fight. Tank barely made it out, and now, instead of focusing on redemption and showing that the draw was a fluke, he's busy chasing million-dollar fights with Jake Paul. It's like he's already fast-forwarded to the bright lights, big paydays, and Netflix deals, all while ignoring the real threat standing in front of him. That mindset could cost him everything. Even Shakur Stevenson, one of the most focused fighters out there, has spoken out. He doesn't respect the Jake Paul fight at all.
You say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Because let's be real, the boxing world still wants Tank versus Shakur. That's the true mega fight, the one with everything at stake: skill, titles, legacy. But Tank, he'd rather step in the ring with a YouTuber.
If you were Tank's promoter, what would the next step be for Tank?
I heard they were going to fight Jake Paul. When I see Jake Paul at the event and I see Jake Paul posting from the private jet with a picture of Gervonta,
slapped it.
Yeah, but they had that for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You had to buy it. You had to get it made.
Yeah, but I can't believe that fight was going to happen. But anyway, crazy stuff's happened. Yeah, you got to rematch Lamont Roach. You got to. It'll probably get ordered. That's the reality by the New York State Athletic Commission. But listen, they may have got lucky because the only fight for Tank outside of after Lamont Roach was Shakur Stevenson.
Facts.
Right? Now they've got another opponent that will do well at the gate because of the controversy.
Yep.
And it ain't Shakur Stevenson. I keep telling people Shakur Stevenson beats Tank. You cannot say that Shakur Stevenson would not have beaten Tank last Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he would have.
And Shakur knows it. That's why he's calling Tank out, saying he's chasing money instead of greatness. But what Tank might not see is that fighting someone like Jake isn't just a physical risk, it's a risk to his entire brand. If Jake Paul somehow pulls off the impossible and knocks out Tank on camera, his legacy could be done.
Tank Davis, Lamont Roach. I think we need to start with that one.
Yeah.
What transpired in that fight was astounding because you have to remember Tank Davis was a 16-1 favorite going into this fight. Lamont Roach, while a WBA champion, was moving up from 130 pounds and no one thought he had a chance. And the general demeanor of Tank Davis going into this fight was like, hey man, I'm kind of done with this. I got 3 fights left. I'm going to be done by the end of 2025. I don't really like this sport anymore. Kids, don't do this. Go into soccer. This ain't...
All the hype, the mystique, the next Mayweather talk, gone. The internet would never let him forget it. And the twist? It would give Floyd Mayweather the last laugh. Let's not forget, Tank and Floyd had a rough split. They were once close. Floyd mentored Tank, built him up, and made him the face of Mayweather Promotions.
Is GervontaDavis going to go somewhere in the pound for pound? Knew he deserved to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. Do Terrence Crawford deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. But what about Gervonta Davis? I mean, he deserved to be somewhere also in the pound for pound.
Why don't they give him that credit?
Because he was affiliated with me.
But over time, egos clashed. Tank wanted his freedom, Floyd wanted to stay in charge, and eventually, everything fell apart.
He was like, I gotta do that.
A lot of people don't know that what Floyd do. He said.
So you feel like it was a sub, like he was subbing you, like, oh, like
he was going at me. He was going at me, and I knew for sure he was going at me. That's why I went at him. There's no reason for me to go at Floyd.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Cause I feel like y'all got, I would say love hate, but it's been like the last interview you showed them love. This week it was whatever. But is that sometimes like, you know, is it just like big bro, little bro seeing things different, or what is it to you?
No, Floyd don't never. He felt as though I'm at that point where as though I passed him. And I'm doing it at a young age. Wait, like when Floyd was 29, you'll see, bro.
Yeah.
That deal that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that's a part of
deal. He don't know about that yet. But that's bigger than his deal.
Damn. Wow.
And I'm just releasing it.
Exclusive. That's exclusive. Bigger than Floyd deal?
Yeah.
Tank no cap, nigga. That's a lot of bread.
You'll see. It's gonna come.
That's what made the press conference so intense. When Tank showed up at the Jake Paul vs. Chavez Jr. event, it wasn't just for hype. It was a statement, a warning. He wanted to remind everyone, Jake might have the spotlight now, but I'm still the main event. And Chavez Jr.? No one's even talking about him anymore.
Tank Davis, Gervonta.
Man, it's so stupid that comments, you know, like, you wanna fight Joshua, you wanna fight, Joshua, you wanna fight, Gervonta, you wanna fight, Usyk, you wanna fight,
Canelo.
I don't know, after 28, so maybe never fight again.
Tank shouldn't even be thinking about Jake right now, because if he doesn't handle business against Roach, that Jake Paul payday vanishes fast. No one wants to see a beaten-down Tank face a YouTuber. That fight only works if Tank is still the monster, the knockout machine, the undefeated phenom, and right now, that image is starting to fade.
You know Gervonta and Jake Paul are gonna fight too.
Are they?
Oh yeah, Jake's gonna kill him.
What is this?
Probably the end of the year.
I want to go to one. We gotta go to a fight together, guys.
You gotta come to my brand race, Tennessee.
We're going to the one in
brand race. Yep.
The next few months are crucial for GervontaDavis. He needs a clear, dominant win over Lamont Roach to protect his legacy. Tank's walking a fine line, and one wrong move could change everything. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads. Drop your thoughts in the comments, stay locked in, and we'll see you in the next one.